Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
So what does it take to build a health and wellness brand that goes the distance? And by distance, I mean miles and miles and miles, like almost 2 marathons worth of years. In this episode, I'm interviewing Jeff and Mike Pedersen of Sports Research. Jeff is a health industry legend who founded the company over 45 years ago after developing Sweet Sweat, an innovation that helps accelerate the thermogenic effect and improve circulation. Now, led by his son, Mike, we dive into what it takes to lead a legacy brand with over 200 SKUs, work with family, and continue championing best-in-class products that help athletes and everyday heroes in the sport of life. Because aren't we all in it, running that good race? Whether you're a health and fitness enthusiast, performance athlete, an entrepreneur, or an industry expert, I know you're going to take away so many powerful nuggets from this interview. I had such a good time interviewing Jeff and Mike, and I have to tell you, it was really, really, really insightful, and for so many reasons. So I can't wait for you to hear it. Now grab a seat at the chef's table and let's dig in. This is really a thrill for me because I have been such a fan of your work for so many years. And I'm really excited that we get to tell the story with both of you, father and son. And I'm just really grateful for that. So let's kind of just share with the audience, how did you start? Where did the idea for your company begin?
Whoa.
I know. Let me take you back. Huh?
This one.
Well, you know, our family's always been into fitness. My dad was a really outstanding basketball player in Southern California, real big guy. And so I played football, basketball, and baseball in high school and ended up getting drafted by the Chicago Cubs out of high school. Instead of signing, though, I got a scholarship to USC, which was the best baseball school in the country by far. And I kind of wanted to challenge myself to say, okay, you know, I could sign a contract, and I thought I could just always sign a contract after, too. Want to get an education, but at a place like SC, let's see if what I can do there. So got real lucky and started 3 straight years there that we won 3 national titles. That was a big deal. It's never been done, never been since then, too. And we actually voted the program of the century of 100 years, the best team in 100 years of college baseball.
Wow.
During that time, though, I injured my ankle really bad. I tore it up. And a lot of times they say it's better to, sprain your ankle bad or break your ankle rather than sprain it bad with the ligaments and everything tearing. So of course, I've been in a training room, 3 or 4 hours a day, and got to know the trainers real well. They traveled with us, too. These guys are just know their stuff. They're excellent. They're just dynamite guys. They all kind of went to med school and just wanted to help college athletes and stuff. So got to be real good friends with them. And I was always intrigued by how they put you back together again really fast, which was, the ice had so much to do with that than with the heat. So ice first, so the ice would constrict the vessels and the heat would vasodilate the vessels. So back and forth, the whole idea, of course, was, and still used today, is to get the dead blood out, get the new blood in for the healing, to get accelerated. And that's kind of how it went with me. When then after I graduated, we started an athletic club in San Pedro, a really large one at the time, 500 members, male members. We were going to build onto the building after and bring in the women also, of course. And it was during that time that all the gyms and spas and everything are kind of similar in the sense that May, June, January, February, March, everybody goes to the gym to, for the new year, to lose weight. Yeah.
New you. Yeah.
And then we always found that ours kind of stayed up there, but so many clubs didn't, where their membership fell off, where not the people just didn't come as much. So what always happens is they work out too fast, too hard, and then they get sore, and then it defeats the purpose of wanting to get in shape when you go back to work and you're hurting, and then they don't come as much. So I always had in my mind, can I create maybe a topical product that would help these guys where they wouldn't get as sore as fast, or they would recover better. So I had a friend that was a chemist, and we just started playing around with topicals that would try to do the same thing as like ice and heat would, without being like a Bengay, a heat product, but something that would bring more circulation to the working muscle when they worked out. And it took quite a while to do that, and finally did it. But I just did it for the members, and I gave the product away to them. However, it got real expensive, even giving samples away. And then it got to be where it got well known, and their girlfriends would come down, and everybody would take these samples. So I wanted to just charge a small amount so I could just pay for that at least. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then one day, actually, a lady came. She was a guest. She came in from Colombia, and she had 12 gyms. And she said, I'd like to, buy the product from you. And I said, well, it's not for sale.
Did you have a name then yet?
No, didn't have a name.
I know. I was trying to remember this right now.
I did have a name. And
I heard this story, but I'm just like, I wanted to...
I know. We need all the details.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was called Jeff's Sample.
Yeah.
Jeff's magic formula.
Yeah. And so she said, well, listen, you get it for your members. Why? To enhance the workout. And I gave her the whole story. She says, yeah, I know the story, and I know about the product. I want to do that to my members, too. I want to keep them there longer. I want them, to be where they really like working out here and stay here with me, and all of my gyms. So that's the first time I had a thought, like, maybe this could go on the market, And
so, when was that? Can you take us back? How long ago was that, Jeff?
Yeah, well, we started in 1980 was when we finally put it on the market. But that was really from 1975 to 1980. Those 5 years where we were testing the product was great for me. I could never afford to, when you test on people, I mean, that costs a lot of money, as you know. And this is, I just did it for free because all these guys were my friends. I knew them almost all 500 by first name. And so I could test on them. I could test on sauna, too, for just sitting there where I'd put stripes on them, 3 in the front, 3 in the back. I get 6 different outcomes right there. And I'd have, at least 150 guys come in every day at our place. So I got a lot of.
So you really had this like real life focus group. And of course, we're talking about the product that is now Sweet Sweat.
Right.
That is ubiquitous. I mean, I see it at the infrared sauna place that I go to. I see it in gyms across the country. I use it personally, but you really didn't intentionally go into the business of creating a product line. It kind of was, it sounds like it was out of a necessity or an opportunity that you saw. What do you credit then being able to take Sweet Sweat and evolve it into a whole product line? Because, obviously it is a huge part of why you're known. But I mean, I have to tell you, I was walking through Expo West, which is a big trade show. Probably my 25th year or 26th year attending. And I saw the full product line of sports research. And I was like, wait a second. Hold on. There's like a lot more here. I mean, how did you take Sweet Sweat to evolve it to a company with over 200 SKUs?
Well, a great question, because that was obviously our problem. Every time I went to try to get into stores or anything like that, the first problem was, where do we put it? There's no product like it of its kind. So where do we put it? Into the cosmetic section because it was a good-looking container? Do we put it into the sports section? Health section? Where do we put it? That was a problem. Number 2, people said, you can't make it just with one product. So that was kind of a challenge for me that, how do I invent all these? This one took like 4 years. How do I make all these other products, And so the thing is, when that became successful, though, because we had no money, we went to a show in Germany, the first international show we went to. And I thought, if we could be successful there, maybe we can make really money on the product, because at that time we're only just doing demonstrations in Southern California, doing well, with the product where I could buy more product and more product, but not doing enough where I can support a big family like I have. But so over there, and I always tell the story that they say, what is the most important day in the history of sports research? And it was that Sunday, because a Friday we were standing, we didn't even have a booth. They had 13 big centers, like sports centers, and in between they had alleyways. So a friend of ours got where they had these windsurfer boards, and they said you could put your product next to the windsurfer boards. And for 2 days, nobody even came by and said any comment on the product. And we had our suits on and everything, and we thought, oh, this is going to be great. But no, nobody even came by. So at dinner on Saturday night, we just said, listen, we have a problem here. I got a second on our home to go there, and we're going to lose our home. So my wife said, look, why don't you just do like we do it at home when you test a product or at the malls? Take your shirt off, put the lipstick downwards, side to side, Sweet Sweat on one side, nothing on the other, and just start jumping rope. So we got a coffee table, and we just set it up inside the alleyways, stacked up all the product that we brought, and me and my good friend Brian Llewellyn, who played at Notre Dame, we jumped together, and we jumped 4 hours straight. And
Wait, hold. You jumped rope for 4 hours straight?
Mariah, if you're going to lose your home, you're going to maybe jump 8 hours,
Yeah, you are.
Do whatever it took. That was do or die. That was it.
That's dedication, Jeff.
We have actually pictures of that day.
We had some really good footage, actually. It's amazing to hear that story. And, we still talk about that story here at the office and, the culture here, to know that was a very special day.
At the end of the 4 hours, we got 14 countries. So when the people were walking by to get into the next, like into the Nike hall, the Adidas hall, or the Reebok, they came by and saw us. And who are these guys with crazy guys jumping rope outside with their shirts off and only sweating on one side? And then they did the thing that nobody's ever done in Southern California malls. The German people are kind of like the state of Missouri, that, show me state, like
the show me state,
up to us, and they'd actually see where the sweat was and they'd taste it. And we said, wow, what are you doing? We didn't know what they were doing. And what they were doing is trying to see, is that really sweat? Is that salty? Or is that you guys yourself while we were walking by, And then they saw what it was. They saw how hard we were working, and they got enamored with the product, just like we did. And we got the 14 countries, and that's where it started. And after that, we were able to get some funds, some money, where then we said, okay, wow, people always said, wow, it's a great name, Sports Research and Sweet Sweat. Can we get some other lines with that? And so we just started developing a few other lines, slowly but surely.
Your story, reminds me a lot of my own product line. When we created Eat Cleaner, I had to get what I call a little gangster with it. I had to set up. I actually started going to farmers markets and taking the product with me and doing product demonstrations in front of people and having it filmed so I could go into retail and show them the reaction of who would be their customers. And that actually got us on HSN and QVC. And then that opened up other doors. But I had to get in people's faces and show them the difference of here's what it looks like when you wash with water versus washing with Eat Cleaner, and how much dirt and grime and nasty stuff, the color of the produce would change. So you're the kind of guy that doesn't take no for an answer. How then did you bring the guy next to you, who is your son? And Mike, I'd love to know from your perspective, did you decide, okay, this is Dad's thing and I'm going to be a part of it? Or, how did you say yes? Because not all family members can work together. Let's face it. I started a company with my dad.
Well, I got to say one thing, because we didn't have a warehouse or an office. The warehouse was his bedroom. We had all the products stocked, so when he's a young boy, all the products stocked in his room.
I don't remember that.
No, that is awesome.
I think, for us, and, just to let the audience know, there's actually 5 brothers and 1 sister. We all work here, the 90 employees. So everybody's still in the business. And just watching the passion that my dad and my mom had. Wasn't just my dad. My mom was heavily involved and still is.
That's right.
And she was, I think the passion that I saw through them kind of, just was so amazing to see. And then letting us kind of see where we wanted to go in life. But, I jumped rope at the shows. When you said you've been there for 25 years at the Natural Products Expo, I was that little kid jumping rope at 12 years old. Showing off the product Sweet Sweat. And, it was just amazing to bring that and still bring, we still do that demonstration to this day. We'll demonstrate the product that way.
Oh, it's a very compelling demonstration, by the way, to see just the difference. Yeah.
To see the sweat and, with a thermographic camera. And he said, his scientist, the scientist was from SC, and it was not just one scientist. I mean, this was a drawn out, I know he was going fast through that, but there was a lot of hardship that went in and a lot of struggles from product not working. And if you think about it, if you'd actually put these ingredients together and put it on your body, it would actually clog the pores and do the total opposite. That's why we've been so successful with people trying to copy and all the copycats out there and, not having a successful product. With the study with the UFC that they just did was unbelievable. It was for water weight in the sauna. And, it's just such a safe way for the fighters to cut weight during this, we call it the safe way, instead of like wearing bags in a sauna. But yeah, to really, to go back to your question, with all the family members still working here, there was a lot of the company just wasn't successful. There were so many ups and downs. And think about it, over 40 years in business, still, and to see the ups and downs, see the struggles that my parents had to go through. You have a product that you put on that's a topical, that, people didn't want to sweat. We used to go to the shows and, sweat. Why would you want to sweat? Not understanding. I mean, look, this is just even probably 15 years ago. People didn't understand sweating. So the product was so ahead of its time. So really, we had to counter that and bring products, to the market that would help with what Sweet Sweat does. One being the neoprene waist trimmer, so this, so you can wear it under your clothes, have that over you with a neoprene. We're first to market with that. And still to this day, it's our bestseller with a ton. You see it all over Instagram with ton of fitness people, from the everyday moms to the dads.
Me too.
Myself, I work out with it every day. So
and I have to just chime in there because it is kind of a crazy thing. I mean, if I don't use it, I'm not a person that breaks a sweat very easily. Like it's kind of interesting. I think just some people are sweaters and some aren't. But when I put the Sweet Sweat on and wear the waist trimmer, I will take it off and literally the sweat is falling off of me. It's really kind of crazy. And I just did a competition recently and I really credit using the product consistently to help just get my ab definition. It really made a difference.
And the science behind that, Mariah, isn't just the sweat. Of course, that's important. It cools the body, gets rid of toxins, but you can't sweat profusely without a tremendous amount of circulation to that area. So the key is getting the blood flow to that exercising muscle or to the core to bring more blood flow to that area. And that's why the exercise feels easier. That's why your recovery is so much better. And people just like working out with it. And it's a great motivating factor, of course, when you see yourself profusely sweating, especially women who probably have never sweat on their stomach ever, to see them pouring out like that, they just go, wow. So there's so much more science behind that, but that's the result. The consequence is that big sweat.
Yeah. So, okay. So from Sweet Sweat to expanding, to multiple countries, to the creation of a huge line of products, what, aside from obviously you created the, kind of the technology, so to speak, or the IP behind Sweet Sweat, what is it that you feel is the secret sauce that makes sports research different from other companies? Because let's face it, there are a lot of nutraceutical products, a lot of sports nutrition products out there. What sets you apart?
Michael,
I think, with Sweet Sweat, so, to have Sweet Sweat be your flagship product. So the company is Sports Research. Sweet Sweat actually took over the name. if you really think of it, it was the brand. So for so many years, we were having such a hard time because Sweet Sweat was the brand, but Sports Research is the brand. So we had such a hard time juggling that throughout the years. And from us being manufacturers, so kind of go back to the little story to the beginning days. In the 90s, 95, 96, 97, my dad started a soft gel company. So we're one of the only 5 in the whole United States that has soft gel manufacturing. And during that time, so yes, Sweet Sweat and soft gel manufacturing. This is when I was in high school. I would come afterwards and work the machines. And so it was amazing to see, vitamins being made on this, fish oil and for these big brands. And, so we go to the shows like National Products Expo and, I make that fish oil, or I make those vitamin E. So it was seeing that which really drove the brand, I think, for us and saying, well, if they could do that, we could do that. And then we'd sit there and go, well, why are they putting this oil on there? Why are they using soybean oil and not a coconut oil? Why are they doing, so we just kind of really found our unique position, us being manufacturers, and we're able to start making formulas and tweaking things as we would want them to take for our personal selves. And that's what really brought the line Sports Research to life. And started building the brand from there. And Sports Research started becoming more well known. But then it was just like probably you feel the same way. No one knew that Sweet Sweat and Sports Research were the same company. And it was so we had that problem at Vitamin Shop. We had the problem at GNC. Even the people at Vitamin Shop, we would go to the trade shows. They wouldn't even know that. Wait, you guys are the same company? And they would literally ask us that. So we had a really identity problem, I would say, because being around so long and we're not a startup, that it took, it was actually a lot harder to come with a strategy, in the 2000s, the mid 2010 to 2015 to really like find our identity, who we are, and really create that product line.
So, I think evolving, the evolution of a product line or a brand, you have to evolve or you die, right? How do you feel that you stay relevant? And let me just say that obviously, in 1980, Jeff, we didn't have social media. We didn't have these avenues, these, channels that allow us to kind of amplify our message very rapidly. Certainly going into a retail store and selling a buyer looks very different than, a way that like you can sell online and in the drop of a hat. It seems like, millions of people have heard about. I mean, I'm overstating a little bit, but how do you feel like you've been able to evolve and stay relevant with the different channels and opportunities that are out there?
Well, we always had the mindset of, from day one, of innovate or stagnate. And so then when, more minds are better than one, right? So when my boys and my daughter, we all got together and we just kept, and Michael was the head of that, of just creating ideas and products that we think, we have a template that really was in, say, for the fitness side, which was just like your product would say, does it have that wow factor? Can you demonstrate the product? Is it priced right? Is it easy to use? And can the product repeat? That was kind of our template of our products, especially on the fitness side. And then on the ingestibles or on the nutrition side, that's what side where Michael takes over there with products that we want to do the carrier's coconut oil instead of the seed oil type thing. And we innovate, the tapioca gelatin.
Let me dive into that a little bit on
that's
on
a
the
big
soft
deal.
gel. So, us being the soft gel manufacturers, we were able to do smaller runs and then also come up with our own little techniques and our little we're just trying to be different than everybody else. And one of the very unique things that we had at the time was we had Amazon. So everybody that told us that we can't get into the stores, we can't get into this distributor, and we would go to all the trade shows and we're still sitting there and, all the big guys were there. Well, and then about 2012, we dropped every distributor there was. And we put all
2012. I was just going to ask you when did that shift happen? 2012.
Yeah, about 2012, and we really put our eggs into one basket, and that was Amazon, maybe 2010, 2012, around that era. And my dad thought we were crazy. Literally looked at my brothers and said, what you're going to do? You're going to drop every distributor? Well, we couldn't control the map pricing. It was everywhere, being around so long. So now we got to control the pricing. We got to control our customer and who we are. And we started now seeing what the trends were a lot faster than everybody else. So we were able to move on trends, whether it be from Dr. Oz back in the day, or whether it be from P90X and what they were taking. And then all of a sudden podcast hit, Instagram. I mean, it was just like we could just go that fast.
Yeah.
And instead of, sitting there waiting, we have this, when you have a big company, with hundreds of employees and board members that you have to go up to, it just takes 6 months to a year to even get something going, where we're turning things around within 4 months, 1 quarter. We have product we could just knock out. And us being
that is a big deal. I mean, for everybody that's listening that has, background in product development or has a brand or is interested in creating a product line, your distribution it's really important to think about that, because there's a cost of doing business with everybody, but you have to kind of weigh, like, am I going to put all of my time and effort into waiting for that retailer to say yes? And then if I don't get the turns I need in 90 days, they're going to take me off the shelf and I'm going to have to take all that inventory back and then some. Like, there are a lot of decisions that you have to make. And we live in a time, and you really kind of caught the tidal wave, I think, at the beginning, where you have to decide, am I going to wait or am I going to forge a path on my own? And there are positives and negatives of each, but it's kind of like, it's the same in the publishing world. I've self-published and I've worked with a big publisher. When you work with a big publisher, unless you're like a household name, you got to wait like a year and a half for your book to come out. Is that information going to even be relevant in a year and a half? You have to decide, right? So you have this amazing kind of brand that is evolving and morphing and getting bigger and more agile and more streamlined, and you're able to interact with your customers and grow. And in the meantime, there are other companies that are growing too, and there are a lot of big names. We don't need to fire them off and give them airtime one by one, but I do have a question. What do you think about this wave of companies getting, building and getting huge and then getting acquired, oftentimes by the same mega company? So we're seeing a lot of little fish getting eaten by the big sharks. Yeah. How does that sit with you guys?
We'll both comment on that, but I hate it. I personally hate it. I have to say what Michael wants, but I hate it because it seems to me when they get acquired over the years, the product seems to, whether it's 1, 2, 3 products or the whole line of products, they seem to diminish in quality. And it's like, it's just not your baby anymore. Like somebody big took over and it's just another one of the things that they own, but it's not somebody with passion behind it and live or die with it every day. How the customers can feel it. Your employees can feel it when you live and die with it. And when you're acquired, you seem to lose that, in my opinion. So I actually hate it,
Yeah. And watching a lot of the friends, and like I told you, we're manufacturing for a lot of the, people that got bought out at the time. We're not manufacturers anymore, by the way. We definitely got out of that game. We have our great partners that we partnered with.
So you use partners now?
Yeah, and we know we were there. I ran some of the manufacturing plant, and we were growing so fast. There was no way I could have rerun this and do it. So we vetted our manufacturers out very carefully, and now they're our biggest partners. So that's great. But seeing a lot of the companies get bought out has been, you think about it. Of course, you're doing something for your life, and it's life changing. We've had the opportunity. We get it once a month of some very big offers that we've had, and we just never really I don't think that's the route my dad wanted to go or us wanted to go. I feel like we're just getting started. It's like down here, we're just getting, the wheel rolling. And he's like, we've been going for 45 years. What do you mean? But it really does feel that way. And, I just see us staying in it for much longer and, really trying to change the industry. I mean, look how the industry has changed since you've been going those shows 25 years. and, to understanding just even the diet, how diets are changing. People understanding. And that's why I love podcasts. I love what we're learning. Every day we're learning, and, we listen to our customers, and I think it's so important to see. And, a lot of those brands that did sell out, they were innovative. They did do that, but you just don't see it continuing when they get bought out by the big fish. And, so luckily for us, that's good, but we just don't have those marketing dollars that they do. So it's a little different, but but to answer your question, it's unfortunate, but I am happy for a lot of the, the owners and, what they sell for, because it's life-changing dollars. Yes.
Yeah.
And most of them are all our friends. So we're really happy for them. But it just seems like these days that companies start just to know that they're going to sell within 3 to 5 years, and that kind of thing is, we're kind of the old school on that, but good for them. We're happy for them, and, it's just fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also I think the dynamic that you have with, all of your kids, Jeff, being a part of this business with your wife and you, it really is a family affair, and it's not just like your livelihood, it's everyone else involved too. How does that dynamic work day to day? Do you guys always get along? Like, is it hard to work with your siblings, Mike? Like, give us a little dirt here. Like, what happens behind the scenes?
Well, first of all, he will give you some dirt. I didn't want them really to come. They all play ball in college, all 6 of them. I kind of wanted them to get out there and even work for somebody else before they come to work here, just to see how the world is, how it works, and how we're different. Yeah. I wanted to run the thing different. I wanted to do it as just a smaller group, but be a big company, of course. But so when they wanted just to come because they grew up with it, I was thrilled, and it's one of the blessings of my life, believe me, to come down every day and spend it with my family. The ups and downs of life and of business are amazing. Thank God we've never had to go to the bank to get a loan. We've just progressed and saved. So they know about saving, and they're really good about that. And talk about being together before the dirt comes. You have your ups and downs of business, of course, and you have your disagreements. They're all type A personalities, I feel. But even
not me.
Probably, no, of course. 3 or 4 times a week, we probably have dinner. Like last night, we have dinner together. We go on vacations together, but we talk business all the time and try to innovate, like I said, and come up with new things that could, be good for the future, for the wellness of people we love, our communities, and people. New products that come out, like example, Ozempic. So everybody's going crazy over that product now, and great, it's really helping a lot of people. However, they're seeing a lot of things that happen. The downside, you're losing a lot of muscle. You get the Ozempic face or the Mounjaro face, right? And so guess what? Trainers are kind of adapting to that to work out more, and even the Jenny Craigs of the world, they're trying to do more for their food to be different, for maybe more protein for the muscle and stuff like that. But any dirt?
Yeah. No, it's a good point, though, you're saying that. But I think we will get on topic with that, because that is an interesting topic to see how we're changing our products even to help with that. Especially our retailers, it's a big conversation right now. Big topic.
Sure.
But it's to answer your question, it's definitely had its ups and downs, and with growing, you got to remember, we didn't have 90 employees before, and I would say the one thing that really did help is managing that growth. And you are going to have disagreements, and everybody's not going to agree. My dad did not agree with us going on Amazon. I'll probably put that one up there. Has been our one of our biggest successes at the time. We're top 3 on Amazon. Before COVID, we're probably number 1. But then everybody got smart after that and said, hey, we got to start selling on this platform, especially the big guys. And so that's what really, then everybody kind of caught up to us. And now I think everybody's pretty even on there, but still bestsellers on many SKUs that we'll go into. But during those times, there was a lot of ups and downs. And I think, us being on teams and playing sports our whole life, you learn that you have to do it together. And it's so important to bring that to life and into a business, and now having the employees that we have. But I don't think we would have made it without the culture that we're bringing and the employees that we brought in, because we would have got sick of each other, or it was just, we just didn't know what we didn't know either. It's, just not enough.
Yeah.
So we, those 15-hour days and grinding, all the trade shows. It was tough. And, it was definitely a lot of disagreements, and, but look at us now. And I think we get along better than ever. And, my dad says we go on trips, we're always just talking about fitness and lifestyle and that active lifestyle. And we think it's so important for, look at obesity in the US. And it's like, we sit there like, how can this happen? Like, what is going on? Why is the food being fed into these elementary schools the way it is? And it's so frustrating for us. And because we all know it's the food, and, what we make is just a little icing on the cake to have a supplement and, just try to better our longevity of our lives, and, giving the right supplement too, without the soybean oils and the fillers, so we're just trying to give you a better option. But the real thing that matters is the food, which, more than us about.
Yeah. It's the thing that haunts me every day is, how do we have a nation that is, has so much abundance and so much food, yet we have, people who are obese and malnourished at the same time? It doesn't make sense. So, I think as a family unit, this is really like kind of an amazing thing that you're able to do this together. And for anybody that's just listening to this podcast and not seeing Jeff looks like he's in his 30s or 40s. I mean, Jeff, you are like the picture of health. How do you, as kind of the patriarch of the family, how do you kind of set that, that very high bar for the rest? I mean, what is your, workouts and your diet look like? I think it's amazing. You've got a lot of energy.
I do have something to say. So when we were growing up, it's pretty funny because he went through a lot of diets. I think he probably went through every single one that, from being vegan to pescatarian to just everything, keto. He's done it all throughout the years. Vegetarian, but we all had to live it while we're growing up. So we'd be in the house and little kids and seeing, we can't eat this week or this month. So we got to grow up on eggs and grape nuts while kids, go to.
I was going to say, were egg whites consistently there?
Yeah, we're having protein shakes.
Yeah.
I always thought, Mariah, that exercise is the elixir of life. That you, and plus our family went through what your family went through too. We had some very cancers in our family where my mother-in-law was only 51. My wife's brother was 35. My mom was 58. So we wanted also part of our business to be able to, pump up that immune system and just really get into these type of things. And I always thought that, number one, I have to keep up with my kids too. I take a couple hours a day that I've always done to either, meditate and to work out hard, just push-ups and things like that. But I've always in cardiovascular, of course, but I'm always testing sweet sweat. That's a daily thing for the 45th year now. I mean, that's it. Because there are batches that we have to make sure they're perfect, but yeah, to answer your question.
So you're jumping rope to test it?
We do it every which way to get the heart rate elevated, whether it's even sitting in a sauna, get your heart rate elevated to get rid of the heat, right? So whether it's on the machines or jumping rope or whatever it is to get the heart rate elevated, I'll do it. Or even you can walk up stairs up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, we used to test at the start, and your heart rate will go crazy, so that's a good thing. But yeah, thank God the kids have taken on where they know the importance of being active and, for mental, also to get your mental state where you come every day and go through these troubles of life, or the COVID thing where we have to get through that thing together, But
just imagine growing up and seeing, when I say he worked out every day, he broke a sweat or tried it. He always said, I break a sweat every day. He would try to do something active every single day, whether would be would be in Hawaii, for instance, would be hiking. But he would, no matter what, he would get his jump rope in. That jump rope went everywhere, and it still does to this day. He just brings that jump rope everywhere. But just for us, what a role model that showed on us growing up. Yeah. And just kind of just being kind of put in our head that exercise is life and sweating is what you need to do. And I think it was more now that we start learning was like more the mental side of things. And now we know that's becoming true, and, the food. So as much as I didn't like not eating those Lucky Charms when I was young, it definitely did pay off,
You know what? My kids would probably say the same thing. I mean, my son is 18. He is on a path to become a chef. And I think, him and my daughter would both say, like, Mom really had us do some weird things when we were young. But they have such an understanding of how to care for themselves. They can prepare a meal. They know how to work out. I don't have to tell them to do those things. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of amazed at how many kids just don't know how to cook. They only eat out of a package. They don't really have an understanding of like where food comes from, how things are sourced. The idea of like going to a farm is just like that's like so way out, so crazy. But I know that you take a lot of care and have a lot of integrity in terms of what goes into your products. And you touched on the seed oils and things like that. Can you talk a little bit more about, how do you kind of keep the sourcing of the product and the integrity of that front and center?
Good example was the Norway trip, Michael.
Yeah.
You just took. Yeah.
But going on. But we try to pick all trademark ingredients. We have great raw material suppliers. Just like if you were going to a farmer's market or with food, you would want to see where's it grown or how are they making it, or if you're going to a restaurant, what kind of oils are they using? Take that same. That's how we always thought. And what you were talking about too, just before that, I like to say something. I don't think it's the kid's fault. I just think they don't know. And that's what's so frustrating. Like, how do we do that? That's why I keep on, going back to podcasts and how great this is for our world. You turn on the TV, that's not where you're going to learn that. In schooling, why are they not teaching that?
Yeah.
Why don't we have literally a garden outside every single school that we're learning how to cook, make our own vegetables and grow our own vegetables. But
because when you know better, you do better. It's kind of a responsibility, really, to pay that forward. I remember when we were kids, we had to take home ec. We learned how to cook in school, and a lot of those programs have been cut. So if they're not available to everybody, then it's kind of incumbent on us as adults to help pay that forward. And the same with nutrition. We've got to teach them the fundamentals and be that, kind of that role model or mentor of how it's done, right?
Yeah, we took that thought process and that motto and brought into supplements, and we said, well, why? Okay, what are they making? Why are they doing it that way? Oh, because it might be easier. Add max steroid, the machine runs faster. Well, we're manufacturers. I'll run it slower. And we'll tell them. So we could go back to our manufacturers. No, you could do it this way and run it a little bit slower. We'll pay a little bit more. We have a premium product, premium brands. Pretty premium ingredients that we pay a lot more to put in, and we try to give the best pricing possible for the SKUs that we have. For instance,
because it's not as though people don't know that they should probably take an omega-3, right? Or that taking, a vitamin D3 is probably an important thing. And now electrolytes, boy, talk about everybody's talking about why it's so important. And these are all products in your lineup, but you approach them differly.
Well, yeah,
right.
Let's just say the omega. Let's go into the omega. So we make an omega fish oil. It's in Costco. It's one of their best sellers. And we have it on Amazon. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon. We didn't just go and buy a little cheaper fish oil. We literally have and sourced the best fish oil that we could in the world. And not only that, we put it in a pescatarian friendly soft gel, which is 3x the price of a bovine soft gel. And for the audience, just so we know, so like soft gels are made of either bovine, veggie, are fish gelatin. So that's what kind of makes the, like a liquid Advil soft.
The gelatin itself, yeah.
Or pig.
Yeah, or
porcine.
But that's
pig,
more,
yeah.
You said, you don't see that a lot anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
And, so what we did is we actually, not even on the fish oil, but we, like our D3K2, we have a whole vegan. We were ahead of the time on, for the vegans and the vegetarians out there. We made a tapioca soft gel out of instead of bovine. So you could have a bovine, you could have a pescatarian. So we really kind of started innovating on the soft gel side. In like a 2-piece capsule, you could have a vegan capsule, a vegetarian capsule. What we call a veggie soft gel or veggie capsule. And, really that's why I think sourcing the raw materials and finding those partners like we have is the most important. I think it's to them. They're doing their due diligence. And not only that, me and my fiance, we got to, and our 2 little puppies, we got to visit Norway just about 2 months ago and see our raw material plant where it's made. I mean, it's mind blowing to see what goes on to get that germ of fish oil. And, seeing them with all the scientists, there's 90 employees there with 20 scientists on staff. And, these guys, I mean, they eat and breathe fish oil, and just to see how it's ran. And, we take instead of an ethyl ester, we take a high triglyceride form. So, even on the D3K2, we go and we get a veggie D3 and a vegan K2. So we just go a little bit beyond and trying to get that, pass on that, same price as a normal soft gel would be. Yeah, we're really, and then back to the electrolytes. Yes, electrolytes have been, I mean, I think it's up 280% this year alone.
I have them in here. And I love the fact that you combine it with coconut water, because coconut water is so hydrating and naturally full. I mean, these are the things that just kind of make you go, well, why wouldn't you do that? Like, these make sense. They're smart decisions. And I think, for a lot of people, and I will say, I think there's a lot of people that are intimidated by nutritional products, right? You might go into a store and see, I'm going to just call it like a product that's marketed to the gym bro out there, that's like fire and like these crazy colors and like these crazy flavors. And I'm like, that's not for me. And then you'll see your packaging and it's refined, it's streamlined, it's very modern looking. It's colors that relate to my ethos. I know everybody's about the aesthetic these days, but I think for a lot of, I'm just going to say women that are my age, okay, that feel like left out of the story, that feel like maybe getting a creatine, which was only associated with a bodybuilder. Now there's a product from Sports Research called creatine that's in a package that makes sense for me and who I am. How did you decide to kind of take that approach with your branding and make it kind of user-friendly, I feel like, for the rest of us?
Yeah, I think it was important, for us to see that, the actual look come to life. But we wanted our product to be for everybody, from sustainability practices that we're doing, from flip top caps, from certifications. We're huge on certifications, third-party testing. So we just try to take all that literally and say, what would this bottle look like in this jar? And how would I want it to look if I was a consumer, and for ourselves? And that's how we really came up with the look. Because if you saw our look before, there's a little, I would say, kind of all over the place. You could tell it was done in different times of the past 20, or you would say 12, 15 years of the supplement line. Mm-hmm. And really kind of taking that. But like you said, the creatine is a perfect example. Creatine's been out for 20 years, and bodybuilders taking it, but now it is so huge for the especially in the women right now, people that are losing muscle tone to Ozempic, they're taking that to gain muscle mass, lean muscle mass back. So it's just a huge.
Yeah. And it's great for your brain too. I mean, what we're learning about, the relationship between creatine and brain health is pretty phenomenal. Well, I think that there's something to be said though about like speaking to the person. It's just like when somebody walks into the gym for the first time that's never worked out, it can be very intimidating. And even my daughter, she's 23. I mean, she will go to a fit expo or go into a nutrition store, and she's looking for the brand that speaks to her, that she can relate to. And there are brands that relate to certain segments. There's a certain brand that it's very millennial. Okay. It feels like childish, kind of like it doesn't really speak to me, for example, or like I said, the kind of the gym bro brand. But, I think to even bring new people into your brand that would feel comfortable, whether they're male or female, I mean, I think it really appeals to both. Do you guys make all those decisions in-house, or do you work, how do you kind of like prove that ground that it will appeal to a wide variety of people?
Let me ask, I'll let Michael finish with this, but just for instance, the one thing that we keep doing is going to the shows, whether it's a consumer show or trade shows, to show what we have to them, to get their feedback also. Do you like this? Do you not like? You like this taste, not this taste? Just sample it out and keep still listening to the consumer of what they like, and then go back and our family gets together and Michael can expound on that itself, but that's the thing for me, that I want to see what there again. That's that wow factor, or something like, wow, yeah, I do like that look and taste, or whatever it is.
Well, like unlike flavors, and flavoring is very difficult. Even electrolytes, proteins, everybody has a different taste bud. As we know, we eat, and some might be salty. It might need this, and us being foodies, we always have that. Debate around the table. So, that's what people are debating on flavors. So flavors is difficult, but I felt on the packaging side of things, I feel like we really nailed it. It was something that took 2 years to do. Sports research. How do we have a bio team of sports research? We really try to tie in the sports research name. And, yes, the research is there, but the sports and, women product and supplements, like how is that, it really didn't connect. And really, it was finding that manifesto of what sport, and we made it sport of life. So sports research, a sport of life. And really, once we kind of grasped that, and all of us just owned it. And that's when really the packaging started coming out. And if you look, I mean, from the flip top cap, from the scoops inside, from the liners, I mean, everything is branded and everything is custom. So this took like I said, 2.5 years to bring out to the market, and we just launched it March of last year, and it's been super successful, and really just creating the brand now. Like you said, walking into a vitamin shop or a GNC or any type of store that matter, it is overwhelming, and you're seeing that, like, what brand am I taking, and who do I relate with, and it is difficult. A little story is, we had this black bottle, okay, that none of the retailers would take on. Black, we would never take on black. Black is, why would we want black? You're not going to look at that black label, too hard. So this is like 15 years ago, right? And so on Amazon, and then we started really, and then all of a sudden you get the copycats started making black, and that's what really kind of switched it. Like, all right, well, how can we put a twist on this? So we changed some of the bottles. Our collagen is this beautiful beige bottle that you would literally want on site on top of your counter. It's stunning, and our MCT oil is this beautiful green. So we did keep the black, but we went from going from Amazon, and then all of a sudden going to the biggest club retailer in the world, and going to Costco. We missed the whole middle. So think of all those retailers we missed, and we just went from largest. One of the largest companies on Amazon, an HPC, to Costco, asking them to give us a chance on our Omega. And they knew that we were sourcing sustainable wild-caught fish that, with fish oil, but they were so nervous about this black bottle. I can't even tell you. And, we just found out, 2 weeks ago, that it's the leading fish oil inside Costco.
It's interesting because I feel like it's so elegant looking. Like it doesn't really, I wouldn't even think twice about it. But then again, I was the girl that wore black to my prom in 86. So black has always been my color.
My pajamas are black.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The car's been black. Everything's Sweet Sweat. Remember Sweet Sweat? Always been black.
Black with gold.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, not an unusual thing to see now. But again, that's kind of like what happens when you are, a pioneer in any industry is you've got to be able to champion your opinion and take the arrows sometimes when they get shot at you. But so here we are, 45 years later. The brand is stronger than ever. You've got all of these SKUs. You really own this, kind of place in the world of clean nutrition, science-backed supplements. What's next?
More of the same, like you said, getting the word out, just keep doing things like this, going to the shows, being energetic about life, curiosity of life, and having people around us that are like-minded, that are the same energy as us, where they're always younger now, and we're trying to get to them. And we always tell them when we hire people that we want you to be excited to come to work. And if you don't want to be excited to come to work at this place, the culture that we have here, then we kind of don't want you here, We want you to just feel good about coming to work. And that's what we are. That's what we think about every day.
And being in LA, I think the community is huge. I think that's something that, we're going to really lean into this next half of, I think our company or me, us taking it over one day, who knows how long, but I think that's so important. Is to now, what we're just speaking on about the obesity of kids and, having after school programs, being active. I mean, we say everybody in life is active in the sport of life. It doesn't matter who you are. You really, every day is a sport. And, really kind of bringing that messaging out to the community. I think that's where I see us going the next years. And of course, keep giving the best products that we can into the market and, staying true to who we are. And I think that will bring us, to where we need to be in life. And it's not just all about money. It's literally about us giving back to, the people, consumers. And that's what we really pride ourselves in. Any
new products on the horizon that you can talk about?
We got a few. Definitely, we have a lot of competitors on our back, so we kind of try to keep that secret. But we did launch our organic collagen. We're the first world's organic collagen on the market. So that launched a few months back, and to say that we're the only company in the whole world to have a product, a collagen that's organic, truly grass-fed, and sustainably sourced. So that's been a huge. And again, that's not from us. That's from a partner reaching out to us and going that route and saying, we want to pick you. We believe in your company, and look what we have. Let's do this together and bring it to the market. And that's what we're getting now out of our raw material suppliers. So it's amazing to have that and be in our situation.
So knowing you guys, some cool things to kind of look out for in the future, I am sure.
Oh, yeah.
I hope so.
I see a jump rope challenge somewhere. Like, I feel like, when I was growing up, jumping rope was like double Dutch. Like, come on. You can have so much. I saw these kids jumping rope with a huge piece of seaweed on the beach the other day. Like, really? I see a jump rope challenge out there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'll be the first to sign up.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys, this has just been the most interesting interview. It's just so heartfelt. Obviously, the fact that it's a family affair makes it that much more special. And Jeff, I see you as you're a living legend in this industry. And I'm just so honored to have this opportunity with you both. But I have a question. I ask all my guests the same question, so you each get to answer. If you could have your favorite meal, what would it be? And who would prepare it for you? And maybe who would you enjoy it with?
Oh,
Well, the old guy first. That for me is eggplant parmesan.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew he was. I literally thought when you were saying that right now, I didn't know this question. I knew he was going to say that.
My wife's family is from Ischia, Italy, and this town, San Pedro, is loaded with Ischia-Dans. I mean, Napoli-Dans, Ischia-Dans, and it's just the greatest taste I ever. And it would be my wife making it, of course, and that was handed down from recipes from her grandmother, great-grandmother. And a year and a half ago, we got to go to Ischia and see right where her dad was born, and we're all our friends from around here. Streets are sometimes named after them, like the trainees and stuff like that are famous.
Wow. I got chills.
And we did too, seeing it. Her dad was like a block away from the beach, just the clearest water. Nobody was at the beach, and we're going, oh my God, your dad grew up here. And so it would be eating it with my family, like we always do, and sharing, and they like it as much as but I get the biggest pieces because I'm the oldest.
Eggplant parm. That's a good one. Mike, how about you?
It's not breaded though. It's fantastic.
Not breaded. Yeah.
God, it's good. I would say I love like farm to table. So I couldn't pick one meal. I would say I love like kind of that taste of the organic and the different types of food. So I would say on a farm somewhere, and having that organic food brought to me, and it would be with my family, of course, and friends, and just enjoying the different tastes and the different explosions of food inside your mouth. I mean, we're all foodies here in this family, so I would love that.
It sounds like a great time. Well, Jeff, Mike, thank you so much for sharing your story about sports research. We're obviously going to share some links in the show notes here so everybody can check out the full line of products. And I just, thank you for the legacy that you've created, Jeff, and have carried on for so many years. And now, Mike, and to you and all your siblings to carry the torch forward. We look forward to seeing what you guys innovate.
It was our pleasure. Thank you. I told you she had a great smile, didn't I?
Yeah.
It was our pleasure. It's great speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal health advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice, and the views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. Hey, it's Chef Maria, and thank you so much for tuning into The Real Dish. It means a lot to me that you're here. I hope today's episode has inspired you to take some proactive steps towards a healthier and happier you. Because just remember, bite-sized changes can lead to big transformations. But before you go, would you do me a big favor? If you found value in this episode, would you share it with 2 of your closest friends and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode? And if you really want to make this girl's day, would you leave a 5-star review? I do hear an angel gets its wings every time you do that. But really, this helps us spread the message of real-life wellness to even more listeners. And everybody could use a healthy portion of that, right? Now, until next time, remember, you are the chef of your own kitchen. So feed your life well, make good decisions, prioritize your well-being, and remember, you need to take care of you because we only get one of you and you are a gift to everyone around you. So until next week, this is Chef Maria signing off. And just remember, we're here to cook up a good time every single week. We'll see you soon.